Tyrese Maxey in this video, 14 step back threes in a row. And if you watched it with volume, the dude's calling out moves. He's like left cross behind the back, and he does it. He's like left cross behind the back, he does it. He's like left step back, and he does it. So he's pulling moves as the guy's saying them. It's totally not planned, and he hit 14 in a row. And yeah, it's open gym, but you see a lot of guys miss some of those shots. You know what I mean? Like that's I just don't think people are ready for what Tyrese Maxey is going to do this upcoming season. And when he was a rookie coming off the bench, I thought he should have played in that Atlanta series more. I remember Doc Rivers randomly in Game 7 playing 40-year-old George Hill for no reason. But way back then, I always said, like, there were so many people that would be like, he's not going to be a star. He's going to be an okay player. He's not going to be a star. I was always like, how do you guys think you can predict the future? That doesn't make any sense. You can't look at somebody that's 20 years old and say that they're not going to become something. That's just setting yourself up to look wrong if it happens. And then after his first offseason, he went from a 29% three-point shooter to 42.5% the next year. And I was like, holy hell, if somebody improved that much in one offseason at 20 years old, what's he capable of? And last year, 26 point per game all-star. And I remember I said he's going to be a 25, 26 point per game all-star. People told me I was crazy then. Bang, 26 point per game all-star. Now I'm saying Tyrese Maxey can be literally on MVP lists this upcoming season. I don't think anybody on this team is going to win MVP because I think they have too many high-level scoring options now that it would be a player that takes a less talented roster somewhere. But I think he could at least be recognized as an MVP level player this upcoming season because of course, Joel Embiid takes pressure off of him. Now you got Paul George taking pressure off of him, and he's the fastest guy in the league. I'm sorry, I'm putting him against who's out there? The Kings. You know what I mean? Who's the point guard of the Kings?
What's his name? Fox.
Yeah, I'm putting him against De'Aaron Fox. I'll put him one-on-one against De'Aaron Fox. I'm taking Maxey. He's the fastest guy in the league, and taking less pressure off of him, and he just had 26 points per game last year. I don't know, bro. I think he's going for 30. I think he's going for 30 points a game. If he continues what he did in that Knicks series, people are going to be shocked at what they see from Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. You know what I mean? I just feel like there's, like you said, there's just so much talent on his team now. So I don't know if he's going. I don't know. I could see him averaging 30, but I don't know. It's going to be hard with someone like Joel Embiid and then Paul George. I don't know. I can see them all averaging like mid-20s this year, man. Like I honestly can see them all averaging like mid-20s. You might see some games where, Tyrese Maxey going to get you a 50-piece nugget. You might see some games where Joel Embiid gets you a 50-piece nugget, and maybe even Paul George giving you a 40-piece nugget. But I don't know about anybody. I don't know, man. It could go either way because now that Joel Embiid, you know what I mean, has a Paul George and a Tyrese, he could average 30. Any of these players can average 30, honestly. True. You're right. It's pick your poison. What you want to do?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Yeah, you could be totally right that there's too much talent on the team for him to do that. But I just feel like he's the one that's going to continue to ascend. You know what I mean? I just feel like that. And I mean, yeah, even if he doesn't, who cares? You got three guys that can give you 40 or 50. Speaking of Paul George, what do you think of Paul George at this stage of his career? Because you said Joel can give you 50. You said Maxey can give you 50. You said Paul George can give you 40, which means you did put him slightly on a lower tier. He still speaks of himself as a superstar. I don't think Paul George necessarily thinks he's a tier less than either of these two guys, or maybe he does. I don't know. What do you think of Paul George at this stage of his career? Like a high-level role player, or do you think he really is still like a superstar?
He ain't no superstar. I'm going to say that. I don't think he's a superstar, but I feel like he's still a star. I feel like he's still got a lot of game. You know what I mean? And I just feel like I'm going to keep it real. I didn't really want him as much. I was more leaning towards marketing, but I am happy that we got him. I was leaning towards somehow, how can we get marketing?
Oh yeah, we couldn't get you couldn't get
we
marketing.
couldn't get marketing, you know what I mean? And then I was leaning towards who else was available?
Zach LaVine,
Brandon Ingram, and some of him. Yeah. But I like this move. I like Paul George. I think he's a perfect piece. We didn't have to give up no first round picks, so we still got a bright future with the first round picks. We just had to pay him a lot of money. I think he's good when it comes to where is he at when it comes to the best two-way players in the game right now. Is he top or best players in the NBA? Is he top 20? Is he top 25? Like, I still feel like he's a star. I still think he can get you between 18 to 25 points a game. I like it, but
I think he's top 15. I think he's top 15. Yeah. Yeah, I think he is. Last year, he was the best catch and shoot three-point shooter in the NBA at 44%, something like that, off the catch. He still shot 41% total from three. He shoots 8+ three-pointers a game, and every time I go back to comparing him to Tobias Harris, I mean, higher percentage on triple the volume. It's just insane. Paul George really his three-point shooting, I think, isn't really talked about enough. You know what I mean? Once I saw those numbers and it's like 8.3 attempts per game, I'm like, damn, bro, this guy's getting up 9 threes a game at 41%. That's lethal next to Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey.
Right, and I always have respect for Paul George's game. I always got a lot of respect for two-way players. Like, no disrespect to players that are just all offense, but I just I put the two-way players, especially the stars that are two-way players, above the stars that are just all offense most of the time. Like for instance, I know people are big fans of Luka. Luka is a superstar. Luka is that bull, but the man plays no defense. I will put someone above him that's a two-way player, like a top. Who's a top player? Gosh, I gotta think off the top of my head, but like I put a two-way player, an elite two-way player over him. He might not make the 60-point games or 70-point games that he be doing and these step back threes and all that, but he's going to play some defense. And I feel like championships are won. You got to score, but I feel like championships are won on that defensive side of the ball, even in basketball. You know what I mean? Especially when it's when the game is on the line and the other team has to score 3 or 2 to tie the game up or to surpass your score to win. Defense wins championships, man. So I just yeah, man. I think Paul George, to be honest with you, is definitely, I don't know about 15. Who you got it? So you said top 15.
I wanted to see. There's a Hoops Hype list that I was talking about the other day that they have the top 15, and now I can't find it. What is his name?
I see Michael Jordan. I was like, hold on, Michael Jordan ain't playing.
Like, I don't remember if they had Paul George in that top 15 or not. Oh, I have it on my Instagram page, actually. I want to see if they had Paul George in that top 15. Here it is.
Like I'm not going to put Luka over Paul George. You know what I mean? I'm not going to put Paul George over Luka. I mean, but I don't know, man. Like,
yeah, they don't have Paul George in here. They got 13 LeBron James, 14 Steph Curry, 15 Tyrese Maxey, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, John Morant, Domantas Sabonis, Damian Lillard, Zion Williamson, Paolo Banchero, De'Aaron Fox at 24. Yeah, Hoops Hype doesn't have Paul George.
Tyrese Maxey?
15 on this Hoops Hype list.
Where's Joel?
Joel is number 5.
To who?
Behind Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, SGA, and Giannis. Joel Embiid healthy is number 1.
I'm tired of this Giannis stuff. Like, I respect Giannis. I respect him, but I just feel like Joel Embiid's a better player overall, man. I know Giannis won a championship. I know.
Well, that's the thing about this Hoops Hype list. I don't know if they're talking about injury potential because they got John Morant at 19. I'm like, John Morant healthy is 19? You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, like Joel at 5. If we're talking healthy, Joel Embiid's the best player in the league. I don't care what anybody says. Every time he's healthy, mid-season, November, December, January, the dude shatters records. He puts out stat lines that nobody's done before. He has 58, 17, 9, and 8. Like, he's completely unstoppable midway through the season. Then he drops 70 on Wemby. Nobody talks. Everybody acts like that's not a big deal. Wemby's blocking everybody's shot out here. He's blocking everybody. Olympics, doesn't matter who. And Joel drops 70 face-to-face, one-on-one. I mean, Joel Embiid
healthy
is the best player in the league. Like the offense, defense, everything. I don't care what anybody says. But yeah, they don't have.
My whole thing though is like, all right, so now since we got Paul George and we have a complete team, I just don't want all the pressure on Joel Embiid to win a game against a scrub of a team like the Pistons. Why does Joel Embiid have to score 50 points to beat a team like the Pistons? So now, since we have a complete team, hopefully this limits his chances of getting injured because it's not so much wear and tear on his body throughout the season. You know what I mean? You can give it to Paul George a lot more and Tyrese, and you got good role players like Caleb Martin and Kelly and possibly Eric Gordon that can get some buckets for you, or Reggie Jackson or whoever. You know what I mean? I'm just hoping that Joel Embiid doesn't feel like he has to score 35 points a game. Like, I don't want to see that. I'd rather see him chill out a little bit.
He actually said that
when it counts. You know what I mean?
He said that. There's a quote of him literally saying that. Like, I feel like I'm not going to have to put the team on my back every single night.